Well, howdy folks. We are out here again with Anders from Uncanny Expeditions.
Hey everybody, good to be back with you.
Awesome. And we are going on Groom Lake Road to the front gate of Area 51. And not only that, but we are actually going to show you today the hidden guard shack on Groom Lake Road. We're going to do a little hike up on a hill and we'll show you the guard shack. So stay with us.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's do this. On our right is Whitesides, the former Area 51 view spot. And here's Campfire Hill, a very popular campsite near the border. And ahead of us is Freedom Ridge, the other former Area 51 view spot. Groom Lake Road, of course, is a well-maintained dirt road. No four-wheel drive or high clearance needed here. This warning sign was added for the Storm Area 51 event. It spells out in clear terms what to expect if you trespass. And over here on the right, we can see that security is already ready and waiting for us. Some people think that that first sign is the boundary, but you can actually go down the hill, around the turn, to get to the actual gate of Area 51. And that is the end of travel for us. Before we go on our hike, let me show you some of the things that you can see around the Groom Lake Road gate. There are, of course, the famous warning signs. And just inside the boundary, there's also a FLIR camera that can see you by day and by night. So don't even think that you can sneak in the dark. The gate is another thing that was added for the Storm Area 51 event. More signs over here, and up on the hill, the camo dudes are watching us. We will take another look at them from up on the hill later on in the video. Two security cameras on the hillside on the other side of the road are also watching you. All right, we are here at the Groom Lake Road gate of Area 51. And not only that, we're going up on a hill over there that is just outside the restricted area. And we're going to take a look at the hidden guard shack. Let's do this. Okay, so we are parked on the side of Groom Lake Road here. And we are making our way up the hill now.
Let's do it. I'm ready for our little bit of a snowy hike we got ahead of us.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of snow. It'll be all right.
Yeah, we got it.
Let's do this.
All right.
From Groom Lake Road, we cross a wash before we start hiking up the side of the hill. The boundary goes right across the top of the hill and is not always easy to see. If you're not familiar with this area, please do not go up this hill. Security wasn't too happy with us hiking up here, so close to the boundary, so they started honking at us, and we gave them a friendly wave to let them know that we know what we're doing. We are almost a third of the way up there, and I can tell you, this is not getting any easier. It seems like it's gotten steeper since I came up here the first time. Finally, we reach the top of the hill, where there's a small platform where security sometimes parks. And we get our first look at the hidden Area 51 guard shack on Groom Lake Road. We look down on Groom Lake Road with the signs and the FLIR camera and the security on the hill, and we can see how the road goes from there around the hill to the guard shack. You can see the road that leads up to the top of the hill. And here are the warning signs. I'm going to show you a closer look at those later. Here's the end of the road that leads to the top of the hill and to the platform where security sometimes parks. And off in the distance, the tallest peak in the middle is Tikaboo Peak. Well, here we are on top of Hawkeye Hill, and as you can see, Anders is already setting up his camera. I'm going to set up mine in a minute here, and we'll take some shots of the hidden Area 51 guard shack. Stay tuned. But first, let's take a look back at my truck parked on the side of Groom Lake Road and pan over to the hill where security parks on their usual lookout. They probably don't realize that with my long lens I can actually get a pretty good look at them, but of course with the tinted windows I can't really see inside. And even if I could, I wouldn't show their faces in a video. That would just get them in trouble. Let's take another look at Whitesides from up here. There it is. Up until 1995, you could still watch the base from 15 miles away from the top of the hill. Now let's take a look at the boundary. Here's the warning signs, and as you can see, the line goes right across the top of the hill. And at this point, it actually makes a 90-degree turn over here to this post. And that is where the boundary was changed in 1995 to include Freedom Ridge, which can be seen here in the background. Okay, folks, I know you all want to see the hidden Groom Lake Road guard shack, so let's have a closer look. The main building really hasn't changed since I first came up here in 1999. A couple of support buildings were added, and the old guard shack that used to be right by the side of the road on the left has been removed. But other than that, really no major changes here. There's a number of security cameras on top of the building, and as you can see, they even have satellite TV. From here the road leads to Area 51, but it is still about a 15-mile drive before you get to the base. On a hill on the other side of the road is a fairly new site with 2 towers and a small service building. The tower on the right with a remote-controlled camera was added around 2005, and the tower on the left was added around 2020. The gear mounted to it is very likely a new microwave intrusion system that detects motion on the ground inside the perimeter. And of course, we don't want to miss taking a closer look at the radio site on top of Bald Mountain. Finally, we got some movement. A pickup truck is headed from the guard shack down the road, apparently towards the lookout on the hill. And sure enough, he's headed up to the hill from the back, and he pulls up right next to the other truck. I've seen this from up here before when they had a shift change, and that is probably exactly what's going on right now. If you look closely, you can actually see an arm out the window of the truck that just pulled up pointing at us. So they're probably talking about us on the hill. That spot where he turns around is an old dirt road that comes up the side of the hill. And many years ago, I have watched one of the camo dudes getting himself hopelessly stuck in that spot. Looks like the original guy's shift is over. He's headed back to the guard shack, and I bet he's happy that we are now the other guy's problem. Now this is when things really got interesting. We heard the faint noise of a helicopter approaching from the direction of Area 51, and then we saw it come right over the guard shack and almost directly towards us. This is one of 3 Area 51 security helicopters, and if you look closely, you can actually see a guy in the open door checking us out. But it gets better. Right over the boundary, the helicopter bangs towards us, and at this point, all I can think of is we're going to get sandblasted. Last minute, they banked again, giving us a nice profile shot, while the guy in the open door is definitely checking us out. They flew a very tight circle right over my parked Tahoe, and at this point finally I got some decent audio over the wind noise. In this still frame, you can clearly see the guy leaning out the window. And we can clearly see the tail number, 2323. Well, that was pretty cool. We just had a real cool helicopter flyby.
Yeah, I'd say that was a very successful Hawkeye Hill trip. You know, we got some camo dude activity coming in and out of the gates. We got a helicopter.
You said you were circling my truck right down there.
Yeah, he did a nice tight circle right over the truck, and then we got to actually look down on the helicopter, which is something I've never gotten to do before. I'm usually looking up at it. So
Right. That was absolutely awesome. You're going to see it in the video, and we're going to pack up, and I'll get onto editing, and we'll be on the air pretty soon here.
All right.
It looks like security's already getting a little nervous there. They're honking at us. They want us to get out of here.
Yeah, they've certainly gotten whipped up into a frenzy all of a sudden.
But we got a good show. They brought the helicopter out. I've never seen the helicopter come out of the front gate. It was pretty cool. You got some pretty cool shots looking down at the helicopter.
Yeah, it was the first time I'd actually been able to look down on the helicopter from a position above it. So that was really cool.
Awesome. It'll all be in the video. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe. See you next time.
All right.